Police Chief Peter Sloly has resigned as protesters remain in the capital following more than 2 weeks of protests.
So for more on this, we're joined live this afternoon by Mike LeCouture, the senior political correspondent for CTV News Channel. Mike, good to see you again this afternoon. The Sloly resignation, I understand, it sort of just became official in the last 20 minutes or so. What are you hearing in terms of, did he voluntarily do this, or was this something the board effectively resigned him to?
Yeah, unclear at this point where he decided to go out on this plank, so to speak, if the swords were out and forced him to walk it, or whether or not he walked it on his own volition. But what is clear is that he is out. We are expected to hear the official word at 2:30 today. But he has been, for the last going on 19 days now, right in the middle of all of this. And a lot of people looking at him asking why he has not moved in more swiftly, why he's not directed his police forces to move in more swiftly on the convoy that landed here on Parliament Hill, and why they have, in some cases, just stood by or even facilitated some of the movement of some of these people as they continue to set up camp and continue to camp out on Parliament Hill. He has been with the Ottawa Police Service since 2019. He was the former Deputy Police Chief of Toronto. His contract was expected to expire in 2024. Obviously, he's stepping away from that now, and it's unclear exactly the reasons behind it. But I think seeing the mounting pressure going on day 19 here now, and still not having any resolution on Parliament Hill, and potentially the fact that the Emergencies Act was invoked by the Prime Minister. But also remember, there has been a bit of a war of words between the Prime Minister and the Ottawa Police Chief. Sloly saying, hey, look, I want to do more here, but I just don't have the manpower. I'm outnumbered. Our people are outnumbered by the protesters. We need more resources from the province and the federal government. And Prime Minister Justin Trudeau saying that the city has what they need, and that they should move in, and that this is a policing issue. So potentially that is why he's decided to step away at this point.
It's interesting, Mike, because this is all falling on a similar timeline for when this Emergencies Act is being invoked by the Prime Minister. They say that they're not calling in the military, but presumably, does this mean more RCMP officers are going to be deployed? What other help are the Ottawa police going to get as a result of this Emergencies Act being invoked?
Yeah, what's triggered here is the fact that the RCMP can now enforce a lot of provincial and municipal bylaws. So ostensibly, you would think that they could now go around and help with the enforcement on Parliament Hill, because people need to understand it is a multi-layered jurisdiction here on Parliament Hill in the downtown core. The street just in front of Parliament Hill is Ottawa Police jurisdiction. On Parliament Hill, so once you cross through that gate, is RCMP and Parliamentary Protective Services. So there is sort of a real mixture here, and that was really sort of borne out during the shooting on Parliament Hill in 2014, when there was a lack of communication by all of those three different departments and detachments, and they tried to work to move around that and have more of a cooperative feel to it and more overlapping, so to speak. But you can see what is happening with this convoy and these occupiers, as Premier Ford has called them, is that it seems like the Ottawa police are just sort of sitting there and waiting for this to happen, while other police forces have been called in to help in managing it, because at this point it is a management issue as opposed to trying to get them out. But that could change now with the Emergencies Act.
And Mike, on that, you talk about being in front of or what's happening in front of Parliament Hill. We understood yesterday that Mayor Watson had reached a deal with some of the people that have sort of taken over that area there to move some of their trucks out of the residential neighborhoods nearby and move them sort of to Wellington Street in front of Parliament Hill. What is the latest on that situation?
Yeah, we're still seeing a more sort of dense parking format on Parliament Hill. So to your point, yesterday we did have video of some of these trucks being escorted up by police out of the residential areas, the more residential areas, and then sort of really jammed in on Wellington Street so that they're parked tire to tire almost, and more of them are on Wellington Street. Again, as you mentioned, part of that so-called deal that Mayor Watson had struck with one of the co-organizers of this convoy, although it was unclear whether or not there was a deal struck, because on Twitter and on Facebook there were completely different messages, and I think that just speaks to who's in charge here. Either way, a couple of the trucks, or at least a few of them, have moved out of those residential neighborhoods, and it's something that residents have been calling for and are likely very happy about. But I think at the end of the day, everybody just wants them gone, not displaced.
Okay, Mike Lecoutre, senior political correspondent for CTV News Channel. We appreciate your time and update.
Thanks, Mike.